Hey, this is Bob. Welcome to my hole. Yesterday and the days leading up, we finished all of our prep around the base of our foundation. We finished installing the drains. We finished installing a product called Mira Drain. We backfilled a little bit with gravel and used filter fabric just to make sure that our drains remain stable. Now we're taking our excavator and we're backfilling all the soil that we removed from the hole just back on top to get everything back on grade. We should drain. We shouldn't be having any wet spots anymore, and we should be good to go. Right here you can see me just backfilling around the base of the foundation walls with Dirt Dog. This process really didn't take me all that long. It was maybe half an hour to an hour of just going around the outside and packing in soil from the big old piles that we created digging out the hole in the first place. One thing to note about this is a lot of the grade around the house actually ends up higher than the foundation walls. So part of the process here was removing some of that material and using it as backfill, and also just kind of grading it down. I'll have to come back after the project is finished and remove a lot of that material just so that it's all level with the foundation wall.
Sweet.
So back behind me here is a giant patch of dirt. What this is gonna be is a big garden patch for growing a variety of fruits and vegetables. What we have done yesterday and today was basically taking the excavator and scraping off the top 4 or 5 inches or so of soil just to get all the grass out of there so that we're not having to fight grass when we're gardening. The next thing we're doing is we're pulling in sort of a mix of the topsoil and sandy loam from my house hole for my basement, and we're using some of it over here, which we'll amend with compost after we get it all leveled out. This is not the best way to do this. It would have been much better if maybe 2 or 3 months ago we covered this in black plastic and just allowed the grass to die in compost, but it's not 2 months ago, it's today, and we wanted to have a garden this year, so this is what we're doing. Yeah. It's just going to be a lot of work with the excavator first, and then coming in and churning and leveling with hand tools, rakes, shovels, that kind of stuff. Here we're using the truck and particularly the dump bed to just expedite the earth moving process. What we did was we just loaded up the truck with Dirt Dog, drove him over the 50 to 100 feet over to where the garden is, and dumped it with the hydraulics. This just saved us a ton of time and labor, and I figure, if I have the equipment, I might as well use it. You could definitely do this with a garden cart or even a wheelbarrow, but I don't think that if you have to, you shouldn't have to put in the labor if you've got the equipment to do it for you. What we're looking to do with this plot is basically grow fruits and vegetables for us. So Natalie and Alex are living here. They're growing enough food for themselves and then food for me as well. So the purpose for this is to use it as a food plot for maybe 1 to 3 years. And then once my house is built and we have dedicated areas for that, this will probably get landscaped again and return to, or approximately, the state it was before. Here I'm setting up the winch on the front of the truck. It's around the base of one of the alder trees nearby so that I can pull myself out of the hole that I've dug myself into. Once I've got the back tires back up on the gravel, it's pretty easy for me to maneuver around, and I got out of there. Here we're hurling compost, or as one of the neighbors likes to say as he came by the next day and gave us his review of our activities, we were hurling shit. We're just throwing it out, spreading it relatively evenly on that second smaller bed right now. So we're back at the gravel yard. We're getting more crushed concrete. This is for backfilling inside of my basement. So it's going to go under the pad. We need something that compacts well and compacts evenly. So we're using crushed concrete because it's stable and it's cheap. It doesn't look very nice, but it's getting covered in concrete anyway. So yeah, that's what we're here for. And we'll be out of here pretty quick. Here comes the loader. At this point, I had the bed emptied out enough that I could finish dumping it. I built this huge pile of crushed concrete, and I'm just moving it into the hole, well, what used to be a hole, what is now the backfill for my garage. I'm sort of using a 2 parts crushed concrete, 1 part soil that was removed from the hole from my little bit of experimenting. It still compacted well, and I was having no problems with it. So I continued to do this, and it worked pretty good. There's a leak in the hydraulic fluid reservoir, either in the reservoir itself or in the lines coming to or from. So I'm trying to figure out where. And I might just have to take the gas tank out and get this so I can shift it around and look around. So here I'm taking panels off a dirt dog just so I can try and diagnose the issue before we moved him over into a nicer area to work on him. I ended up taking off a panel on the bottom of Dirt Dog, and I had so much oil spill out in the area that at that point, I just committed to turning this into a problem that we had to fix before we started moving on. So right now, I'm just working on getting panels off the top so I can see down into his guts. I couldn't find the issue with this exploration, but after we got him moved and disassembled much more completely, it became evident what the problem was. And I'm going to have to take off like 4 lines just to get to that one.
Sweet.
Oh wait, maybe 1. Maybe I can do it in 1. This is after we got him moved, after we got him taken apart, and after we got the tube out of him. This is the hydraulic line leading to one of the main cylinders on the arm. It was sitting up against a sharp edge, and I think the vibrating of the engine and just general operation worked its way through the outer sheathing and through the metal braid, and the line ended up breaking. That's the problem. We just got one of those arteries out, and you can see right there. It's pretty thoroughly worked. And this was sitting right over the area where the leak was coming from. So I think we have our culprit.
Making progress.
Yeah. We only had to tear him almost completely apart.
Yep.
A lot of this stuff really was a process of repair one thing, we had to remove the thing on top of it, but we had to remove the thing on top of that to get to that thing, and just that layered, 7, 8, or 10 times. The next step is there's like a hydraulics repair shop in Everett, and I'm gonna bring this in. I called them today, and I told them I had a problem with at least one line, and I asked them, like, can they help me with that? And they said, just bring it in. Either they'll have what I need, or if they don't, they'll know someone locally that does. So I'm gonna go and get some replacement hoses and then I'll come back, throw them in, put this guy back together, fire them up, see if we're still leaking. Hopefully we're not. If we're not, then we're good, and I'll put it completely back together. And if we are, then I'll tear it back apart and figure it out.
Gosh, that's annoying.
Yes, it is. So this week, we prepared the drains. We finished preparing our drains. We covered them in gravel, covered them in filter cloth, and we backfilled all around the base of our house. Following that, we created a couple garden beds and got those ready for planting this week, ahead of the good weather next week. Similarly, we were backfilling the inside of the house. This week, we finished preparing the area in our garage. This weekend and perhaps part of next week, we're going to be working on backfilling underneath the pad for our basement. Again, to be ready for concrete next week because of the good weather. We can't pour pads without a sunny day or at least not raining. And it's been raining almost every day for the last 6 weeks or so here. So yeah, that's about it. I'm going to get back to it. Thanks for watching.